This is movie crap. Oh, I think it's just going to show my picture because I forgot to do the thing. Whatever. Hello. How's it going? Watch me do my charger here. It's a little awkward. I am like actually sort of on time for once. And yeah, that's a little weird. This is movie crap. Oh, I think it's just going to show my picture. Oh, and there you can hear me. Alright, sorry, I didn't have the little image at the beginning, but regardless, for the first time we're on time. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of people. Anyway, this is Movie Crap. This is the 20th episode of Movie Crap Live, my streaming show. The 20th time we've done this. So let me send out the tweet so everybody knows. Twitter's doing its thing. I think it is going to be a good show. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. Well, it's sort of the week before the Oscars. I have some announcements up top, and then we'll get to the good show, as it were. The good show. Even have, Anyway, so first off, thank you all very much for coming. Oh, I'm a minute late. Damn it. Oh, hi, Sinram. Hi, Ace Windrider. Hi, Will. Hi, Will Elman. I don't think has Will Elman ever been here live before? I don't know if he has. Major Mekazawa. Saber! Crazy! Anyway. Hi to you. You surprised me. Alright, anyway. Nerdification. Not plausible. I'm just naming people in the chat. Bruce Parker. Alright, so, first off, thank you all very much for supporting the show up to 20 episodes. This is amazing. It's awesome. I can't believe this happened. Thank you, Austin, for being here as well, starting up the chat. First couple things. This is, I am pretty much completely fan-funded and fan-supported. So if you want to support this show, either do so on the Super Chat or pledge to my Patreon. It is a great way to get involved and keep the show going and support me as well. And thank you, everyone who is financially able to do that. If you're just watching and like it or whatever you do, that is cool too. But if it is financially viable for you, then please do so if you can. That would be very nice of you. Next up, so there are two sort of things that only change next week. One is Oscar nominations come out on Monday. Obviously, this show is on a Saturday, so that causes a bit of a thing where I would be very late. So on Monday, at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, which I know is a very different time, I'm going to do an Oscar reaction stream. I usually just do a video. That is the only real time that is good for me and my family and all that stuff. So that is why I'm doing it then. Normally, Movie Crap is not going to be on in the afternoon, but it's just the best time for everybody, so I'm doing it then. In addition to that, next week, Movie Crap is going to be on a Friday night, not a Saturday. That is mainly because my wife's book club is here, and obviously I can't be screaming about stupid movie news while she's, trying to read books and stuff. So we're basically I'm going to do the show on Friday. So you're going to get two Movie Craps, and it's going to be a different time. So anyway, if you cannot be there, I'm sorry about that. I will be back to regularly scheduled Saturdays on the other Saturday, I guess, the Saturday after. Does that make sense? Probably not. But anyway, and there'll be a video that will come out at the time we usually do Movie Crap. So if you're here, there'll be something for you to watch from me. Anyway, does that make sense? Is anyone confused? I don't know. Anyway, I hope everyone makes sense. I hope that all makes sense. And I think there's going to be a lot of cool things. We'll get Infinity Train. Oh, the Infinity Train book 2. I will do a proper review for that. I'm not going to review that during the show. I will get to that. I haven't really watched it. I watched like 2 minutes of the first one or something like that. So, and I know people haven't. So everyone, please refrain from doing that in the chat. I don't see why that would come up, but please don't do that. No one has done that, but I guess we're just like sort of saying please don't. You guys are pretty cool about that stuff, so let's like not fuck around. Those are Eastern times. Thank you, Sinram, for updating that. Eastern, of course. But yeah, is that everything? Anyway, sorry, that was a long intro for this show. Are we recording this? Am I recording this? Good. Yeah, that part I guess I didn't need to. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with kind of the biggest breaking news, and that is Scott Derrickson, who has directed the first Doctor Strange, has left Doctor Strange 2 or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness over creative differences with Marvel. Although this has happened before with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man, and I guess Patty Jenkins with Thor: The Dark World in terms of leaving for creative differences. Obviously the James Gunn thing, what's his name? Kevin Feige did not want that to actually happen. But the other ones left for creative differences. And this is different from those because basically this is the first time you've had a director who started a franchise who wants to come back and do another one, leave Marvel while working on it, and leave for creative differences. That's pretty unusual for a superhero movie. Usually the director gets sick of it, or the studio gets sick of them, or some sort of nonsense like that. So it's odd. The kind of various theories about this has been that he wanted to be more horror, and Feige was always a little uncomfortable about that. The others is that this has to tie in with the WandaVision show, and he might have not liked that. The other thing that when I was looking kind of the slate of Marvel is this comes out in 2022, or was supposed to come out in May of 2021. Sorry, supposed to come out in May of 2021, and that's a year we're going to get 4 Marvel movies: Shang-Chi. Then we will get it's like Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man 3, and then Thor 4 or Thor Love and Rockets, I guess. It's Love and Rockets. I'm sure that's what it's called. But so what's happening with Doctor Strange is sort of what was I saying is that it might actually also tie into the third Spider-Man movie, because there's always been rumors we're going to actually get he doesn't actually want they might actually want to have the multiverse thing get into the third Spider-Man movie. I know everyone's kind of come up with directors they want hold on. Sorry, I need to move a thing, and now the mic's being weird. Okay. I know everyone's coming up with horror directors they could do this movie, which I think is a little odd, because everyone seems to think Jordan Peele will do it, and I'm like, Jordan Peele ain't doing fucking Doctor Strange, guys. I don't know why everyone thinks. I'm like super confused why everyone keeps bringing him up. That seems to be an odd choice. But anyway, my choices are and one I want to first. Well, I'll end with, I think the most perfect choice is one people have even said in the chat at this point, but I would say first off is Panos Cosmopoulos, whoever directed Mandy. I think he would be the dream pick, but since they didn't let Scott Derrickson do whatever he wanted. Oh, also Scott Derrickson was supposed to write it, and now he's not at all, so that's a thing. And then Panos Cosmopoulos, I actually saw, and I don't know when the review will come out, is Julia Hart, who directed Fast Color. I saw that recently. It's quite good. You should check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. I think she is perfect to make a comic book movie, and if I was Marvel, I would be like, okay, how do we get you to do one of these, and which one do you want to do? After that, the most perfect one in my actually I have two. I'm sorry, I have two. One is the idea that Josh Boone, I think, who's directing New Mutants, has recently been given creative control to make a horror superhero movie. They just lost their horror director for their superhero movie. Josh Boone, who's directing New Mutants, or fixing New Mutants, is soon going to be done with that, as that comes out in like March or April. That'll be done soon. So what I'm saying is, why not? He's already there. They're getting along with him. Seems to be working out. Why doesn't he do it? I'm surprised no one's come up with that, because that seems to be a little too easy. That seems to be something Marvel would do, because he's like right there. Maybe they have faith in New Mutants, but maybe it's a way to be like, well, we like New Mutants, but it sounded like you were weird to work with, so why don't we have you do this? So that could be a possibility. But for real, Sam Raimi's the best choice. Everyone who suggested Sam Raimi, that's who I want. Do I think he'll do it? No, he doesn't have to. Would he have an awesome time with it? Yes. I want Sam Raimi. Okay, anyway, let's get to Fox stuff. and which leads into Seth MacFarlane. First off, Fox TV executives earlier in the week were commenting about how they are preparing for The Simpsons and Family Guy to leave, and even Bob's Burgers as well. I don't think they're preparing in the ways that they actually have a show that's any good, that's actually happened. You know, they're you know, I feel like they haven't made a new show that's like Bob's Burgers is pretty long in the tooth as well. So it's like they're not really great at coming up with these huge hits very frequently. So I don't know why they said that, but they keep saying they're prepared. So good for them. I guess they're prepared. Anyway, but in addition to that, later we found out. Let me get some water. Sorry. Oh, my Metro card fell. Oh. Water. The taste of a new generation. I have a pretty lo-fi setup, I think. Next to, hi Izzy, how's it going? Alright, anyway. So Seth MacFarlane has inked a $200 million deal with Universal. This is pretty notable in the fact that he doesn't want to work for Disney-owned Fox. And that's pretty crazy because I didn't... You know, he's been with Fox for a long time. And although people like Ryan Murphy, who left Fox like pretty soon after the Disney deal to go to Netflix, Seth MacFarlane hasn't really done anything. He's kind of just hung out this whole time. He's done acting gigs. He claims he didn't really have the time to work on a deal, and he finally decided to. Obviously, he has kind of a reputation with Universal as they made Ted, which was a big kind of mistake for Fox. Everyone thought Fox would get would get Ted, and they turned it down, and he went to Universal. So apparently he doesn't want to necessarily do too much animation, which is like, who's giving you $200 million for live action in 2020? But I guess he thinks he's that good or something. I don't agree with it, but I thought that was sort of a weird... I wouldn't pay him if I had $200 million, I wouldn't give it to Seth MacFarlane. But if I was one of those people, I'd be like, oh, if we're getting Family Guy 2 or whatever the fuck, then sure, but that's not what they're getting. So I'm confused by this deal, which he's going to make tons. He's getting a signing bonus, all this stuff. He's still going to work on Family Guy and other things, but it's kind of weird. I have to say, the idea that he's not working on as much animation and he's doing the acting thing. He worked on the Fox News show, which I heard was better than the Bombshell movie, which I refused to see. Not because I just, that movie sounds really boring to me. So I'm hoping it doesn't get a Best Picture nom. But Seth MacFarlane was on that. I heard he was rather good. I know he can be a good actor at sometimes, and I think he has potential with that, but like it's not like the Orville's blowing up or anything. So I'm confused by the size of the deal, considering what he says he wants to do with that deal. But he's continued to work on Family Guy, American Dad, and the Orville. So he has 3 shows, which kind of makes sense that and 3 shows that he stars on pretty much as well and writes on, and it's bigger than Ryan Murphy, who's more of just a producer. But apparently he was meeting with everyone from Netflix and all that stuff. But it sounds like he is leaving Fox. Disney, which is happening to a lot of people, don't really want to be in business with Disney. They're not interested, and Seth MacFarlane seems to be one of those people. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. It sounds like he is not going to be making other things for Fox too much. He's just going to continue the projects he has going, but mainly make his home Universal. We'll see where that deal goes and what becomes of it. I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually leaves Family Guy, and I know there was talk of him making a Family Guy movie for Disney, especially with the Bob's Burgers movie, which we have seen no trailer for, which doesn't... I'm curious when we're going to get something about that. But with the Family Guy trailer, with Family Guy movie, I think that might have been something that made him maybe not want to continue if that movie didn't take or something like that. That's just me being, hyperbole or something. But yeah. All right, next up, more Uncharted news. That movie's not dead yet. I'm not going to list off the directors. I did that like a couple shows ago. But Ruben Fleischer, who seems to be the director at Sony, who they'll just give things to and he'll direct, Might is seriously considering doing the Uncharted movie, which they'd like to shoot before the third Spider-Man movie, which is like, I don't think that's going to happen, but apparently Ruben Fleischer is seriously considering it. He previously did Venom, and recently last year did Zombieland Double Tap, which apparently did well for what it was, which sounds weird to me. And yeah, I don't really love Ruben Fleischer at all, but I think he is the kind of director who would do something like this, considering he did Venom. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see if it happens, but he's seriously considering it. So next up, 3 trailers in a row, and then we'll get to Dan Harmon news. Does that sound good? All right, so I'll talk about the 2 I have less emotional investment in, and then I will talk about New Mutants. First off, there's a Harley Quinn trailer, Harley Quinn and the Emancipation, or whatever that is. That looked just like a Suicide Squad spinoff to me. It looked very Suicide Squad-y, maybe like a little more competently made, but it didn't look really great to me. I'm sort of like, I guess I'm seeing this one, you know. I wasn't, my phone's being extra weird today. Anyway, sorry. It didn't look particularly great. It felt kind of just like, oh, cool, DC has a movie again. I'm not really very interested in it. You know, it's like the DC kind of movies we thought we were done with. No, the Zack Snyder thing was done, and he was cut. Sorry. But you know, I'm sure it'll make money and all that stuff. Devs. There was the trailer for Devs, which is Alex Garland's show on FX exclusively on Hulu or whatever. I didn't really look up that thing. It looked kind of interesting. It's about a cult. It looks very Alex Garland-y. I did like Annihilation a lot. I wasn't as into Ex Machina as everybody else, but I still enjoyed it. I'm sure I'll like this show. It was interesting seeing Nick Offerman in not so much a comedy. Now, the big trailer for me this week was New Mutants. I'm a big New Mutants fan. I've talked about it before, how much I love New Mutants. I think it's an amazing show. It's an amazing comic, particularly the run, which is the Bill Sienkiewicz and Chris Claremont Demon Bear run. I really do like that. But I did like the trailer. I thought it was good. I liked their kind of spin on it, but there wasn't like a shot or a part in the trailer that made me go, oh shit, this is gonna be it. And like, I never felt that way. I just felt like, okay, looks interesting. And I kind of am like, a little like, I expected after all this waiting there'd be a trailer that really like got everybody whooped up and everything, and it kind of like, as someone who is probably more excited than this movie than anyone, I was just sort of like, I mean, I'm still with you, but like, that be more exciting. Like, I know people saw Lockheed for a second and stuff like that. To me, the bigger thing is like, I like the actress who's playing Danny Moonstar, who's the lead, who's like the least famous person in the cast. She looks good to me. You know, so I'm very curious. I'm very excited for this movie. This film just like kept sort of that going with New Mutants. I'm not like too blown away by this trailer. I'm just sort of more like, you know, I'm still excited, but I feel like we need something more to like really make me go, oh shit. And it's sort of, you know, seeing 2 seconds of Lockheed is not going to do it at this point. So, we'll see what's going to happen with this. I didn't. Interesting. Ryan's bringing up that X-Men movies come out with animated sequels. I didn't really notice that before, but I guess he's right. You know, I guess he's right. I noticed Secret Life of Pets' popularity went up a lot when it got on Netflix. I didn't hear anyone talking about that movie as much as I heard it in the past couple of weeks because it's on Netflix, which is kind of interesting. I noticed Netflix has that effects on like certain movies. All right, so. I need some water. Okay, sorry. Put that. That's next to the Red Bulls. I'm waiting to drink a Red Bull. Sorry. All right, so Dan Harmon has exited Starburns Industries. He's no longer going to be running Starburns Industries. That is mostly to focus on Rick and Morty and the 770 episode pickup, which is an insane pickup. He apparently left a significant time ago. What that means, no one seems to have a definite idea of when he left. Apparently his podcast ended, which I used to listen to Harmontown. Apparently that's over. I kept reading. I don't know how true that is, but I was really surprised by that. They've of course produced like Anomalisa, and they did certain things with it. I think they've done pretty cool things with Starburns Industries. But it is interesting. Dan Harmon seems to be focused more on being a writer and less being an executive, which might be a better fit for him, particularly with Rick and Morty. I don't think the episodes of Rick and Morty have been that outstanding. I like the was it heist episode thing was kind of a fun concept, but I haven't watched all of them yet. So I'm slowly getting to that. But we'll see. I think it was a little surprising to hear that. The other thing that came out of this news, which was was going to be a Starburns movie, was the stop motion Bubbles, Michael Jackson's Monkey Bubbles movie that was going to be on Netflix, directed by Taika Waititi. Apparently, Taika Waititi has left after not finding Neverland. Was it Leaving Neverland? The Michael Jackson recent controversy. You know what I mean? But that apparently is completely done. If you remember hearing about that episode, you remember hearing about that movie, that stop motion movie, it's not happening. I remember hearing about that, and I hadn't really thought about it, but they were like, yeah, that's not happening. That's kind of hidden in the reporting, I noticed. Yeah, that's true. But Ryan Wilson brings up that we are getting the Glove musical. Are we getting that? I thought that was like over. Anyway. But it is interesting to hear Dan Harmon's kind of slowing down a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, next up, the Parasite remake. What the fuck's going on with that? Because why would you remake Parasite mid-awards season? Parasite's a great movie. Definitely on my top 10 of the year whenever I get around to doing that. But it's a little surprising. And apparently, whoever was working on the deal isn't too happy that it got out before the nominations came out. I don't think it cost them anything because this came out after voting was closed for the nominations, so it probably could not have affected anything, but it might have affected things for not, voting for like winners, but I don't think it's not going to win Best International Film. But basically the deal with this remake is HBO is going to make a Parasite English language miniseries. Some people are like, could it be a sequel? No, it's not, because that's not. They're not going to spend that much money. HBO's not going to pay for that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, we don't live in those times yet. But Adam McKay is going to produce it with Bong Joon-ho, who directed it. So it sounds like he's involved. I'm not exactly sure what the spin is, how this is going to be a miniseries. It just seems rather weird to me. Like, why would you make this a miniseries? It just seems so odd. I just don't get it. It sounds stupid. Like, if they were working on a separate TV project, I'd be more into that. But this remake idea, I just don't. I kind of want more info on it than to just write it off. But right now, it sounds like an awful idea. I just don't know what they're doing with that. So, the Warner Brothers using AI to develop films. AI-driven film development. This was the story that everyone made fun of. I know Nolan made fun of it. Right, Nolan? I don't actually talk to him like that. That'd be weird. Maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway. But basically, it sounds like something, and apparently Warner's has kind of like backtracked away from this. They're like, we don't really want to admit we actually just did that. I don't, please don't tell people. Apparently it's just like a thing they do to just show like, to just see like how marketable certain things would be. It's not as much that they are just going to like plug something in and be like, give me hit movie, all that stuff. And it's probably not going to be like that, but it got reported in such a way and Warner Brothers got quite embarrassed. Warner Brothers does feel like they do run a studio like that, so if there was any studio, particularly now, they used to be a lot stronger, but did someone else join these chats? Someone crazy? Did I miss somebody? Anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's sort of one of those dumb stories that kind of gets blown out of proportion, but apparently they mainly use it for marketing things like that. So, all right. So, Golden Globes. I was not tweeting because I was recording a pizza party for a lot of it, but so I didn't see it live. I did start tweeting towards the middle of it when I could, but there, I guess, a couple notable things. The big one in animation is Missing Link won Best Animated Feature, which gives them a huge push. The thing with the Golden Globes is everyone acts like they don't matter, and they sort of don't, but they sort of do. Okay. I'm having a weird thing. Oh yeah, I guess Paleo Husband. I forgot about that. This is very interesting. The chat's interesting tonight, I have to say. Interesting. So anyway, sorry. So the Golden Globes, basically, yes. So Missing Link won. Or okay, sorry. How this has to do with the Oscars is basically like the Oscar voting for nominations ended on Tuesday. The Golden Globes happened on Sunday. If you were kind of thinking about something, go, oh, maybe I'll reconsider it because of the Golden Globes, or you could go, fuck that thing because of the Golden Globes. It might actually help certain people. We don't really know. There's not too much overlap in terms of voting, but Missing Link, it might help it in the Best Animated Feature category, which I will get to in terms of Klaus's fate. There's a lot of kind of awardsy things we're going to go through right now. The Ricky Gervais thing, I just really didn't think he was that funny. I thought it was sort of annoying that he's been like kind of getting upset from people and all this stuff. I didn't mind when he was like, don't get too political thing too much, but whatever. I don't know. It was interesting. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won Best Musical or Comedy. That looks like it might be the favorite to win Best Picture. It will be interesting. 1917 got a lot of support, but it wasn't very classy of Sam Mendes to have his speech be like, this will give us so much support at the box office. We open next weekend. I'm like, dude, that's embarrassing. Don't do that. I also like that Awkwafina won. I really liked J-Lo in Hustlers. I thought she would win over Laura Dern. I thought that was lame. Anyway, going down, I'm going to talk about the BAFTAs. The BAFTAs voted, basically didn't nominate anyone of color, no female directors, nothing like that. And before you go, well, the Oscars have done that for a while. Think about the BAFTAs, and this is a true fact of all time. There are two major African-American actors who the BAFTAs have never nominated, and those would be Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman, who have won Oscars at the Oscars. As bad as the Oscars are, apparently the BAFTAs are like way worse, and we've just sort of left this go the whole time. And now people are going, oh, shit. So, so it's one thing to be like, oh, I forgot to nominate Denzel that one year. And it's another thing like, I forgot to nominate him ever. Oops. So they did that. So basically, yes, the BAFTAs did not nominate anyone of color, and people are kind of basically questioning what they're doing. Zane Powers. Oh, for the first super chat, giving me some Red Bull power there. Thank you, Zane Powers. Do you think? Hold on, cheers to you. Thank you. Do you think Lion King won? Do you think Missing Link won because of Lion King? That was the theory because of the nominees. There are 5 nominees. One was How to Train Your Dragon 3. The other 3 were Frozen 2, Toy Story 4, and Lion King. And a lot of people were saying they sort of split the vote 3 ways. So that could be what happened. The Golden Globes are quirky, though, so you don't know. But thank you very much for the support and the super chat, Zane Powers. Anyway, so the BAFTAs are going to change their voting thing after that controversy. But I would honestly say a lot of what was going on with the BAFTAs was pretty embarrassing. But with Best Animated Feature, I want to get to the Animated Feature thing. Well, I'll do the Animated. Yeah, okay. So Best Animated Feature for the BAFTAs, the nominees are Frozen 2, Klaus, Toy Story 4, and a movie that we're not going to see till after the Oscar season is over, Shaun the Sheep, Farmageddon, which I like those nominees. I haven't seen one of them. 2, I have. Wait, what? Super chat. Subs or dubs anime from Discount Viscount. Well, thank you very much for the super chat. I am a subs guy. I'm definitely a subs guy. Discount Viscount. I've always been a subs guy. There's certain ones I do like the dubs more, like Spirited Away, but for the most part, I'm a sub. I always go for the subs. I like hearing them foreign languages in my animes. Tell you that right now. Anyway, so going on to the PGA, I'm going to talk about Best Animated, and then we'll talk about my feelings on Klaus, because, yeah. So the PGA, it's 4 nominations. The Producers Guild has, Farmageddon will be cinema. Nice, Ryan. So the PGA... That's funny, sorry. The PGA nominations for Best Animated Feature are as follows. And the PGA does have sort of a bearing on the Best Picture and certain Best Animated Feature sort of nominees. They have a lot of power because they're the Producers Guild, and for whatever reason, they're pretty close to picking the various things. They usually do. They're also a little more open to nominating Best Animated Movies for Best Picture and blockbusters and stuff like that. They're a little bit better at that stuff. But in terms of Best Animated Feature, they have Abominable, sure, Frozen 2, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Toy Story 4, and Missing Link. Klaus is not on there, which is sort of interesting and sort of what kind of worries me here, because why isn't Klaus on there? And note, Klaus was not nominated at the Golden Globes, and Klaus has gotten not nominated for a lot of things. I'm a little worried because I've noticed certain people who are predicting Best Animated Feature categories have not mentioned Klaus at all. A lot of times they're mentioning I Lost My Body, which I don't think will get in there. I would like it to, just because it's weirder and it deserves to get more attention. You should go. I Lost My Body's on Netflix. Please go check it out. But basically, it looks like right now, I think Klaus has a shot. But I don't be shocked if it doesn't get nominated. We can all get upset together and cry and stuff. Klaus is still an amazing movie. I think it's probably going to make my top 10. It's definitely, I think, one of the best movies of the year. Christmas classic already and all that stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if, based on the PGA, it's basically like DreamWorks takes 2 nominations, which I agree with How to Train Your Dragon 3. I almost think How to Train Your Dragon 3 should win because none of the How to Train Your Dragon films have won, and that's ridiculous. And I know Frozen 2 and Toy Story 4 are getting in there. Abominable, said it right, I think. I think is a bit on the bubble, but Missing Link I think will get in there, specifically about the Golden Globes thing. So it's really, I would say 4 of them as a lock would be Frozen 2, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Toy Story 4, and Missing Link, which doesn't bode well for Klaus. I hope Netflix spent enough and weren't as worried about The Irishman, because, hot take, I thought Klaus was better than The Irishman. So, whoa, what's this going on here? Okay, Will has a super chat. Shoutouts to Away, Boonwell, and it's the turtle. It's Boonwell, sorry. Ride Your Wave, The Tower, Promare, good point. Promare doesn't have a shot, but you have a point. Bear's Invasion of Sicily, Children of the Sea, and other quality animated films this year that are going to get so snubbed. You are right about that. Thank you for the super chat, Will. I appreciate it. You were right, and that's kind of the problem with this category now. And why I wanted to talk about it before Monday is that, also because then the nominations come out, and this would be a dumb conversation then. But is also because this category, when it wasn't such a stacked year, and you didn't have these big studios fighting amongst one another, they would have more smaller films. And it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And to be perfectly honest, the other problem is like, okay, let's say Klaus gets in there, then 4 Kids isn't getting in there because Frozen 2 has to get in there because, honestly, I hope they open this category up because it just like, it used to be things like the stuff from Cartoon Saloon, the stuff from Cartoon Saloon and other studios, smaller studios would get in there and get a lot of attention and would help them. It would help their studio and we'd build more independent animation. And it feels like this year we're not getting that, and I find that to be very disappointing. Incredibly disappointing, and that should not be going on. Thank you for the super chat, Will. Also, Norm in the North how many 2 sequels this year and not 1 nomination? And if the Razzies doesn't nominate Norm of the North, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. I gotta say that right now. So I'll do 2 more awardsy things and we'll move on. The PGA nominations, which are close to the Best Pictures, so this is one you should listen to, and it has a couple interesting things in here. So the PGA nominations for Best Picture are 1917, Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Knives Out, Little Women, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Knives Out looks like it's going to actually get some Oscar nominations. I would not have predicted that previously, but it looks like it could happen. And in terms of the DGA, which is usually close to the best, not always. Oscars always throws some surprises just to make it interesting. This might not be the year of that. But in terms of DGA, the directors nominated were Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, Sam Mendes for 1917, Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time, and Taika Waititi for Jojo Rabbit. So that's kind of gives you an idea of what probably will happen on Monday morning. And yes, I will get up early and I do that, and you'll see me tweet a little bit before I do the stream at 4 p.m. Eastern time or whatever that day. In other Oscar news, and then we will really move on. I'm not sure if I'll do, by the way, I'm not sure if I'm going to do my Oscar predictions thing as a separate thing from the mainstream, just because I know some people aren't as into awards things. So let me know in the chat actually how you feel about that. If predictions and other Oscar things should go in the show, or it is something you guys care about. I won't be going through all those. I'll go through some of the lesser award shows, but let me know how you feel about that actually, because I'm curious. Like, is this something you're interested in, or would you prefer it be another video so some of you can watch, some of you can't? I'm just curious. You know, if you want it to be a separate thing, I think it will be for both the nominations and for the review of the show later. But let me know how you feel about this being a part of it for the next month. Okay, Zane Powers. Thank you, Zane Powers. I like Zane Powers. Anyway, the Oscars, in addition, will not have a host this year, which is interesting. Apparently, they couldn't find anyone who were afraid of offending people in Time's Out and Me Too and all that stuff. So they didn't want to. Basically, no one has the balls to do it, and The Rock was too busy. So I don't know. They just can't get a host right now, and I've heard everyone say it's sort of a thankless job, and no one wants to ruin their career to do it after what happened to Kevin Hart. I keep hearing that. But Monday, is that true? Oh my God. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Cheers to Monster Trucks, Austin. That's amazing. I love it. Oh my God. I didn't realize that. Maybe I should get out the Creech stuff for the... I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway. Yeah. The Muppets should host, by the way. The chat's bringing this up. I think William Bibbiani, who's the critic... What would happen if Creech hosted the Oscars? It would be terrible. Thank you, Zane Powers, for the super chat. He would... I think his monologue would just be like, independent cinema should be more represented in the Academy. It is a crime the greatest film of the airwaves was not nominated. Because of this, I will leave. Sorry, that was my Creech voice. Anyway. Yeah. They need to do the Muppets. Sorry. They need to do the Muppets. It is interesting though, they've already committed host for the next year's Golden Globes will be Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I can't believe it did Creech there. That was weird. There is Avatar 2 concept art. It looks really crappy, and it was taking me too long to get the images off the site, so I didn't do it. Basically, it looks like it's an Avatar sequel. That's cool. You sound like a testosterone stitch. Cut up the Creech skin, but no, I don't know, guys. All right. Oh, we have some stuff coming up. All right, so more nominees per category devalues each. Math. Damn, Sinram. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that, but I do think animation would help the industry in general. But yeah, that's true. I guess, you know what? I can't disagree with that. Thank you for the super chat, Sinram. Everyone, by the way, check out Sinram's channel. He has been a longtime supporter of my YouTube channel, a friend, and he is a patron, and his username and link is in the description of all my videos. So if you ever want to check out his channel, just find it. It's Sinram. You should watch it. It's great. And thank you, as always, for the support. All right. Anyway, Avatar 2 has concept art. It looks like Avatar. I don't know why I put this in the script. The bigger news in terms of Bond, and this is a quick thing, is Dan Romer, who is typically Corey Fukunawa's score guy, was supposed to do the score for the new Bond film, No Time to Die. And apparently the Bond producers are like, this is weird. We don't like it. You're gone. Which is kind of like how the Bond producers are, frankly. Historically, they don't like weirder and different things. They want everything to be very Bondy, and I get it. So they've got Hans Zimmer to come in and spruce up the score. I'm assuming whatever the score was going to be was not what was in the trailer, which was like very traditionally Bond. Which maybe that's why it was very traditional Bond. So, people have been subbing to Cineram. Awesome. I'm glad they are. So basically it sounds like the Bond people, as different as they want this film to be, it's still Eon, it's still the Bond thing. So that kind of, the fact that this happened so quickly makes me sort of think that I should be worried about this Bond movie, but it might be an omen for things to come, or it's just Hans Zimmer's doing the score. You decide. I don't talk about casting news, and I know I traditionally don't, but I'll bring up two things. Colin Farrell is definitely cast as the Penguin. I think we already knew that. And the interesting one, and I found this interesting, is Christian Bale is looking at being cast in Thor 4 or Thor Love and Thunder. Everyone thinks he might play Beta Ray Bill. No one seems to actually know who he's playing, but apparently he wants to work with Taika Waititi. And to be honest, it seems like he's in this weird career place where he's played Batman. He has an Oscar, right? Just for the supporting one, I think. Anyway, he's like kind of done all he's going to do, so he might as well be in a fun movie. I'm sure he's just chill with Thor Ragnarok, so why not? So Mystery Science Theater, this is a quick thing, is on IFC late nights. I think it's about 1 a.m. I can never watch it because I need to sleep sometimes. But they've been playing classic episodes. I saw them playing some Joel episodes, a Mike episode. I don't think they're going to play Jonah stuff because that's a Netflix thing. But they've been playing episodes. So if you want to watch older Mystery Science Theater and you have IFC and you're up at that time, go check it out. All right. So I wanted to talk about CollegeHumor, which pretty much ended. They do have a lot. They ended kind of released that they had to fire basically everyone because they ran out of money. And this has been kind of a sad thing that I've noticed with Collider last week and now CollegeHumor this week. And I am sort of worried about the online community in terms of these kind of group, more corporate YouTube channel type things in the future of what that could be, which doesn't honestly look that great right now. Now, CollegeHumor will still be posting videos. Apparently, they have a couple months of videos locked down and probably scheduled to go out and stuff. So I think they had a new video yesterday. They might have a new one today. I haven't checked since earlier today. But we'll see what happens with them. They're the creator who this CollegeHumor has been going since 1999 really didn't want everything to happen. Oh, Zane Powers with the fun fact. Okay. Zane Powers. In the Bond universe, homeless people don't exist, or at the very least aren't allowed to be shown, as that's a rule of the Bond Bible. I have heard that, Zane Powers. I've heard that, and that is creepy, and I don't feel good about that at all. So that is creepy. I've heard that. Thank you for the super chat and for the fun fact. No Nichi Kichu, so I'm glad someone's bringing the fun facts. Anyway. All right. So, what CollegeHumor, kind of some, maybe I'm name dropping, but I have sort of connections. Oh, hold on. will bring up Colin Farrell is going to have a fantastic year with A24 sci-fi drama After Yang, which Will told me about, and the upcoming BBC miniseries North Water, which sounds like something my wife will definitely watch, and I won't. And then she'll be like, "Didn't we watch that?" And I'm like, "No, we didn't." And then that's true. Sorry, I'm sorry. That was weird. I'm just going to drink this now. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know why I did that. I'm a little wacky today. All right, so College Humor, two things. The guy who does all the CEO message videos, if you watch it regularly, thank you everyone so much for all the super chats and the support. Really appreciate it. Also, the Red Bulls gives me energy, so it makes the show go better, I think. Anyway, but he does these CEO messages where he's crying and he's doing kind of an apology thing. I actually used to know him at my school, and he actually, I think I met him around the time I met my wife, and then I sort of lost touch with him, but he seems to have doing really well for himself. He doesn't have a job. I thought they're really inclusive. College Humor might sound like something that wasn't, but they're really inclusive and fairly progressive in their comedy, which I really liked. As well as I went to school with the guy who directed the Adam Ruins Everything, and I really love Adam Ruins Everything. And I actually got to message him and say, like, hey, by the way, I think Adam Ruins Everything is amazing. You've done an amazing job. A lot of long takes and all that stuff in that one. Sorry. Heard a weird noise in my barn. Anyway, so, but I'm sad to hear College Humor go. I am worried about the future of kind of online video, but it seems like I've read a bunch of things, and especially what happened with Collider and the guy who was interviewed on the John Campea show, the CEO. I think we're in an interesting place in the online world where it seems like the team group thing is definitely falling apart. I could have told you that with Channel Awesome, but the individuals are thriving, and it's interesting who from Collider who got huge subscriber bumps, who clearly had a lot of love, and who didn't. I'm not going to name their names and or anything like that, but I'll say John Roca, who I'm not. His cowboy hat thing's a little funky, but I always liked his mailbag show, and to be honest, like, when I wanted to know what happened to him, he was one of the people, or like Mark Riley, who he did Riley Round, and he started Meet the Movie Press, which is a podcast I regularly listen to. So he isn't on it now. He started a long time ago, but it's interesting to see. I think the individual means more than the group. It seems is more of where things are going, but we'll see where that is. Anyway, I don't know why I told you all that, but it's interesting to see how this is changing. Discount Viscount, fun fact, Snoop Dogg once said that without Ruddy Ray Moore, there would be no Snoop Dogg, and that's for real. P.S. Review Dolomite biopic. I should review both. That's kind of, that and 1917 are sort of my end to I need to do. And I've, like The Irishman I've shot, I just haven't edited it and so forth. But anyway, thank you for the super chat, Discount Viscount. I like these interesting fun facts. So before I get to, anyway, as you all know, I have Regal Unlimited. I'm part of the Regal Unlimited Facebook group, so I learned Regal news really quickly. People have interesting opinions, I'll put it that way, that I don't necessarily agree with. But, hey, Niji Kichu's here. But Regal will now have Pepsi products instead of Coke, which is pretty big since Coke controls pretty much every major theater chain. And now that Regal has Pepsi, that shows Pepsi got in there. So good for you, Pepsi. I've been to a theater with Pepsi products, and it feels weird, not because I have anything against Pepsi. I know one of my friends, Corey, from the Oh the Anthem podcast, gets like physically ill by Pepsi because he's weird. Rob Cheek and I said that. But yes, that is sort of a major change, but I just thought that's just a side thing. So Quibi has an interesting thing, and I'm actually going to bring out some images here, guys. This is going to be a thing. This is going to be crazy. Hold on. So Quibi has this new technology called Turnstile, and basically I want to show you with the phone. This is my phone. Sorry, hold on. This is my phone. See Sophie. This is the image of Sophie. So basically, you know, most videos you can watch it like this on the YouTube thing, and then it will flip over. Oh, I should have been watching me while anyway. You know, it's like this, and then switch to vertical video. Well, on Turnstile, the technology is basically, and I'll show you this in a second. With Turnstile, you're basically going from one side and it'll switch. And with the Quibi stuff, they're actually going to make people shoot it both ways, because a lot of directors will, when you shoot a commercial, and I've seen this from Twitter and Facebook, people have complained that they have to shoot a commercial both ways, like the normal way, vertical, like widescreen, and then have to shoot it with vertical video. So let me, here, I'm going to show you this GIF. I have a GIF. This is going to be crazy, guys. All right, hold on. I have to wait it. It's GIF in itself. I have a GIF here. I'm excited. All right. So, see, this is Quibi. This is how Quibi will be. You'll be watching it. You'll turn, and it'll switch to the vertical thing, and it'll switch, or the not vertical. I screwed that up. But see, it'll switch. So basically, you have to shoot your thing two different ways, but the technology will be able to switch it. But my confusion on this is, if you're doing it in a different aspect ratio, editing changes. So you have to edit it the same way in two different aspect ratios? Like, and how does it know to switch? And like, will any of these directors be able to say, hey, no, you can't use this dumb turnstile thing on my show, man. That's like not cool, Jeffrey Katzenberg. But yeah, that's what Quibi will actually be. Is that weird? That looks ugly as crap. In some ways, I will agree. Nijikichu thing, that's pretty cool. It is cool that you can come up with that, but in terms of making art and making cinema and making a dumb video on the internet or something like that, it sounds like if someone asked me to edit two things the same way, like with two different shots, I would probably cry and then say how much and then just do it. But it sounds like kind of like not how I view cinema. So I'm curious. Quibi just sounds awful. I just don't know about Quibi. It just sounds like, to me, like expensive YouTube, but with money. And I just like, why would I want that? Like, I don't know. Unless they want to make something with me, then I think that sounds amazing. And we definitely should do that. So, I like how the Martin Scorsese cinema thing. This is Ryan Walterson's fault. The Martin Scorsese cinema thing is more of a joke on this movie crap than any of the others. I find that very humorous. Anyway, sorry. So we're actually getting. I think we'll be done before midnight, possibly. Interestingly enough. So anyway, I have a few things, and then I will get to. I didn't actually. Okay, I only have a couple things. I realized I didn't watch a trailer or something, which I'll have to get to later. That's on me, bro. I have three things, and then we'll get to reviewing Owl House and Thundercats Roar. So there's a Ryan. This is actually a one that Ryan was like, you should talk about this. Is the Grown Ups 3 Spec script? So someone wrote a script for Grown Ups 3. They were not asked or paid to do it. And it sounds an interesting concept. It's basically like in it, they're making Grown Ups 3, and then they sort of get. It's basically like if Scream 3 met Grown Ups, and this killer is killing each of them. And people are really digging it. I have not gotten to read it, but everything I've read about it sounds incredibly fascinating. And I love that someone went and came together and made a Grown Ups 3 script that's a little more meta. I kind of actually think like. Adam Sandler has this Netflix deal, since there's this online buzz. It sounds kind of fun. Like, why doesn't he just make Grown Ups 3 on Netflix, like with this spec script? I think that'd be hilarious. But the idea that like it would be like a killer on set of Grown Ups 3, and he'd kill off like Kevin James and Chris Rock and David Spade and stuff, I think would be really. Oh, it was Tom Sharpling. Sorry. It just sounds so funny to me. All right, so next up, Zach Morris is coming back to Bayside. It seems like there's been sort of shots leaking out of the Peacock show, the reunion thing, which the Zach Morris's trash guy is writing on, which that has me more excited than the returning cast. But Elizabeth Berkley, we saw, what's his name from Extra? Sorry. It seems like everyone but Screech, because nobody likes him. But if they got Creech as Screech, wouldn't we love that? And you could, I don't know what he would. That would be. I think that would be great. Wouldn't that be awesome? I think that would be great. Get Creech as Screech. Anyway, they too many Monsters Truck references. Someone just said Knockforce in the chat. You're cute. I love you. Anyway, so, but it sounds like they got Mark Paul Gosselaar to make a deal, and he's going to be an executive producer. And I know he's going to have a little bit to do with the structure of the show, because it's basically because of his bad management as like mayor or some politician thing. The school gets put in a certain place or everything. So he is essential to the show. So it looks like they finally worked out a deal with him, or they just announced it right before shooting to build hype for Peacock, which unless I'm getting that shit for free with my cable, I'm not getting. Alright, so there's all this talk of Star Trek 4 now that the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek is maybe not happening, or maybe it will. It sounds like he's just distancing himself from it during Oscar time, and then if he wins an Oscar or not, he'll... Yeah, didn't he thank himself for writing? I mean, who else are you supposed to thank? But that was a dicky thing. But yeah, so Star Trek 4, apparently Noah Hawley said that he's going to do an entirely new cast, and it'll be a whole new take on Star Trek, man. I'm not even going to have the whole new cast. It's going to be so different. Like, not one you've ever seen before. And he goes, what kind of things are you going to make it like? And he's like, Wrath of Khan. And that's like, what the fuck? What? Noah Hawley, like, man, that's not even a good... Like, Wrath of Khan's the best Star Trek movie, granted, but everyone tries to make fucking Wrath of Khan. Like, don't... That's so lame. It's so disappointing. One of the things I liked about the last Star Trek movie is it tried to be like the TV show and not like one of the... I thought that was a different take on it. It's interesting that, like, Justin Lin, who's going back to the Fast and Furious films, seems to have more... It seems to be more interest... It like, came up with an idea to make another kind of different Star Trek film. And this guy just comes in and goes, I don't know, Wrath of Khan with a new cast. Like, that sucks. Like, I'm very disappointed about that. I don't know. I love Wrath of Khan, by the way. I would flat out say, if there's any Star Trek, if there's one Star Trek movie you should ever see, it's Wrath of Khan. I love Wrath of Khan. It's one of the best 80s movies, one of the best science fiction movies ever. It's an amazing film. I love every time I watch it. I'm like, God damn, Wrath of Khan's good. I even like 3. I like Star Trek 4 with the whales. Why don't they bring the whales back? I would like to see the whales again. I like the whales. Maybe I'm the only one. Probably. I feel like Sinram's like, nobody likes the whales, Jim. Maybe Sinram likes the whales. I'm curious to see what he says in the chat. All right. All right. So, let's talk about Owl House. So, let me get some water. I'm gonna finish this Red Bull because I'm gonna have some water. Forget it. Let's be. So, the Owl House. Oh, super chat. Chris Rock got the crowd to chant Grown Ups 3 at the Knicks Kids Choice Award. Lasted a whole minute. It was cut short during the final broadcast. Really? Was this a recent Kids Choice Awards? I don't watch the Kids Choice Awards because I'm not a kid, so I have no choice in the matter. That was a dumb joke. Thank you, Cashews the Musical, for the super chat. It's very appreciated. Fun fact from Niji Kichu. In Texas Chainsaw Massacre, thank you, Niji Kichu, the actor really chased the victims with a real running chainsaw while wearing a mask in the dark through a cornfield. Man, that movie just can't stop being disturbing. Thank you for the support, Niji Gishu. Thank you for the support, Cashew's Musical. And I like that Sinram said, I like the whales and the 4 score. Awesome. Cool. Sorry I assumed you wouldn't like the whales, Sinram. But thank you for the support, Niji Gishu. I'm glad that you were here. That movie. Are we done with this? I think so. Okay, anyway. So, The Owl House premiered yesterday. Came out on the app first, then premiered on Disney Channel a little later. It's an interesting first episode of Owl House because I don't feel like it's representative of what the show will eventually be. Because basically when this girl goes into this other witch dimension, magic dimension or whatever. Sorry. When she goes to this other dimension, you kind of get the idea that she's going to train to be a witch, but none of that is going to be in this one. So I sort of like that about the pilot because you don't see a lot of pilots for animated shows being very different. That's more of a drama show thing, frankly. They kind of like do it very differently, and then it sort of sets up the rest of the show. And that's basically what Owl House did, and that's actually incredibly risky. I'm surprised they did that, frankly. I'm very surprised they did that, and I sort of like that a lot about it, because it set up the world. It was a lot of world building. It was a lot of references, and they sort of did the Luke Skywalker, John Connor, and Terminator 2 thing with the main protagonist, Luz. Luz? Is it really Luz? Whatever. But I actually did not remember her name. But she's interesting. She likes like fantasy books and action figure, all this stuff, and she's very eccentric. Clearly something that most of the target audience is going to like. But I did feel like they used her to kind of introduce this world and understand all these things that were going on, and I really liked how they used that. I did watch this with Sophie. I thought this would be more of her bag, and if it had been more about the little girl learning to be a witch, I think it would have been. But she was like not into it and found some of it scary. Not too scary that we had to shut it off. And it didn't seem like she was into it, but according to my wife, when she saw an ad when they were at the Disney store today, actually, which Disney store is a mess. That's like a future rant video or something. I don't know. Anyway, but she actually positively said, I watched that with my dad. So I think maybe she'll turn around on Owl House. I don't know if people care. I did really like the voice work. Sorry. Ida, the voice work of Wendy Malick. Damn, that was a good voiceover. That was a good voice role. That was really great. I really liked that. I thought she did an amazing performance. I was like instantly into her. I liked Alex Hirsch in this as well. I think this is going to be a cool show, but I do think this felt like it actually sort of reminded me of Infinity Train, and I noticed Kevin from the Round Table brought up in his review that it reminded him of fantasy books, and I would agree with that. But it reminds me of what Infinity Train reminds me of complex, weirder sci-fi books that no one ever cares about anymore, but like everybody that like was weird when sci-fi was more about ideas and writing and things like that. Was more about ideas and less splash and things and weirder changes that like wouldn't be cool or commercial. And this felt like that a lot, and I like that about it. But clearly, its airtime is later. Like I watched The Rocketeer with Soph, and that's more of her speed. This is clearly for older kids, and if you're watching this with a kid, I would say just make sure they're in older elementary school. I just don't think, as of right now, from the first one. But I also feel like this is not representative of what the show's going to be. So it's sort of a weird one. It's a good one to start with. It gives me a lot of faith in them as creators to do it this way. But I don't think it's I don't think like when I've seen 5 episodes, they're going to be like, oh, that's the episode you show first. That's often why networks play things out of order. It's cool that Disney Channel didn't do that, but maybe it was not a good idea because you could, just get into the show. I felt like I got into the show, but I've heard from other people that like it was harder for kids to get into the show. So maybe that'll hurt it overall. But I really did like the Owl House. The animation was really fluid and beautiful and interesting. It blew up this whole world and made me like sort of fall in love with everything. And I was just happy, really just happy with the show. It really looked like this cool, weird cult thing that we really needed. And I felt like, I haven't gotten to keep up with everything on Disney Channel, but this is something I'm definitely going to set my DVR for. I think Owl House opens up a whole new weird cult thing. I don't know if it's going to like actually hit. I'm a little like confused if it will or not. I feel like it's probably something that should probably be on Cartoon Network, but I'm curious if now the new leadership over Disney Animation with Jennifer Lee, I believe that's her name, this maybe is like more of her thing that she's kind of spearheading, whereas Lasseter was more like, the Gravity Falls other era, which sounds like he's just signing off on them, but maybe she's like, let's do more of a culty Stranger thing to get more demographics in. And I definitely felt that about this show. I think Owl House has a lot of, I think, promise and interesting things with it, but I would like to see where the show progresses and what it becomes. But I think this is still a good way to start off and shows a lot of faith in the audience, probably maybe too much faith for really little ones, but for me and for someone enjoying this who's older, who's the target demographic, and the one they made it for, then I think that it'll work really well, and I think they'll really love this show and the risks it takes, because it takes it as kind of like a fun kids fantasy thing, whereas Infinity Train, it felt like you're not sure what's going to go and it could get scary and things like that. It feels like with Owl House, it's kind of being protective and will grow as the protagonists and as the readers grow, much like Harry Potter and things like that. So that's how I feel right now. But again, this is only really the review of the first episode, but I think it's very much an animation nerd kind of show that you kind of just want to fall into this cult already. And I think if you're able to do that in the first episode, that's pretty damn successful, because I'm already really excited, and looking at that beautiful animation and that crazy world just makes me want to just continue to see what's going to be happening at the Owl House. All right, so I heard Dog with the Blog died recently. The dog, not the blog. The blog continues. I think he sold it. Anyway, next up, Thundercats Roar. So this has been a thing, but I want to state one thing about Thundercats. And I've seen the infamous review where people get upset about saying this makes She-Ra look good, which I'm like, well, doesn't life make She-Ra look good? So that just makes sense to me, because She-Ra's good, so whatever, fuck you. But are we going to have Kelly's Heroes review, and will you have Izzy? No, Kelly's here. Why? That's such a weird one. Anyway, so Thundercats Roar. Here's my thing with Thundercats Roar is this. Thundercats is something that I was a fan of since I was a kid. I had the action figures, I watched the show, I rented the tapes from Blockbusters way too many times, everything like that. So if anyone's going to be like, well, you should take it more seriously and stuff like that, look, guys, I was a fan of Thundercats since probably your parents were born, and I don't have a problem with this show. I don't see why everyone's getting on their high horse about fucking Thundercats. It's sort of a stupid thing about a bunch of people who are cat people, and not even like the good 40s movie. They're just cat people with swords and crap. Maybe chill the fuck out. I did watch the 2011 show. I've seen every episode, actually, and I quite like it. But I still don't have really a problem with this, and I don't understand the nonsense going around this at all. I've never understood it, and everyone I know who has a Thundercats t-shirt and used to have the action figures and watch the show is just excited to watch it with their kids. It's all these people that are being weird and having all these masculine ideas, which is also weird. Why is She-Ra involved in this? Like, I don't understand that. How can you be like so testosterone-y and pro kind of all this this masculine idea, and they go, She-Ra's crap. If you were pro all this masculine stuff, you wouldn't have been watching She-Ra. She-Ra was a show for girls. So like your whole idea of testosterone doesn't even hold up to the fact that like She-Ra was very much a show for girls at the time, and now it's like not. And now you have a problem with it? Like, that doesn't even... Like, if you're gonna go all patriarchal, like, at least be consistent. I just don't get it. Anyway, so, here's my thing. Thundercats Roar is interesting in that I actually like the animation. I think the CalArt style or the rubber hose style, or... I don't really think it's CalArt style. I just think nobody has any... I don't know. They're just being stupid. But I sort of like the... I sort of like the style of it, but the problem with the 2 episodes, which are the only ones I saw when this came out on the Cartoon Network app, is that it's basically taking the original pilot of Thundercats and making sort of a fan vid of it, or a reanimated thing of it, sort of thing. That's how it feels. And I sort of don't get why to do that. Like, is every episode going to be a funny remake of the Thundercats? Like, this is another one much like the first Owl House, where I was like, is every episode going to be like this? Like, it's so weird. So it was strange, but I also am like, it's so referencing the other thing. Like, I was kind of wondering, like, to me, I know people have said like this wasn't made for the fans. To me, I was like, I mean, this very much felt like it was made for the fans, because I wanted to watch the original Thundercats after watching it. So I do not get their theory about this. Like, it's so weird. But yeah, that's basically what they did. They changed some things, like how Lion-O is basically his body aged, but his mind was still a 12-year-old in the original pilot. In this one, in this one they don't do that. It's fine, I guess. I like sort of the wackiness of it. It was fun, but it was just like, it felt like a reanimated, like, kind of YouTube video. Like, was it You Can Know Joe or something like that? It felt like that really most of the time. And I sort of don't fully get the point of that, but the weird thing about it is I didn't really get... the weird thing about it was that... I don't know. It was fine. I'm not absolutely in love with Thundercats Roar. I kind of was more down for like a Teen Titans Go version of Thundercats, which just really wasn't, because Teen Titans never like sort of remade a Teen Titans episode, or Teen Titans Go never remade a Teen Titans episode, and this is basically doing that. I kind of just wanted like funny skits and stuff like that, and this is kind of a cool way to start it. But it really reminded me of Thundercats. It's sort of like not the longest running 80s thing, but it it's kind of become a huge property, mostly because the t-shirts look cool. But I have talked to people who want to watch it with their kids, but it seems like more the adults are into it, and like the funny like rubbery animation and stuff like that. I like kind of watching the animation style. By the way, I really don't get the OKKO thing with it. I didn't really feel that within it. I don't think Ian worked on it, to my understanding. Maybe some people from OKKO did. That's highly possible. It's the same network. But the only thing it reminded me was the opening shot of the planet. And I thought of OKKO immediately, but everything else, yeah. Anyway, I'm not a gatekeeper. I want to do a Saddle Rash review. That's going to happen. Jack Splade should have gotten on that. I'm going to beat him to it. But I'm not a gatekeeper of Thundercats. I want more generations to get into it. I'm really against this whole idea that this is the worst cartoon ever. I just sort of don't get the point of it. It's like, okay, why are you so relying on this? I kind of thought we were going to see more from this show, but I liked what I saw. From the 2 episodes I did see, I really liked the idea of like taking the established brand and ideas of Thundercats and reanimating it and making it funnier and looser and weirder was a cool idea. No one's really done that before. And it's kind of the opposite idea of the previous Thundercats, because the previous Thundercats was very serious and trying to be like Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is like, let's go the opposite way. And I was like, that's theory-wise, I sort of get it. But I am curious how they're going to continue with the show and what the show's actually going to be. Because right now I don't officially really know, but it's definitely interesting. It's definitely an interesting take on it. And a fun one. But I think the difference between Thundercats Roar and Owl House is Owl House, I'm excited to watch another one. Thundercats Roar, I'm just sort of like, that was interesting, but I kind of like, I need an episode that really like changes my mind with it. It's just sort of like, you remade a Thundercats pilot in a weird way. What are you going to do now? And left out a lot of details, but that part, it didn't bother me. In terms of remaking it, it was fine. It's just more of like, my question while watching this is still, what is this going to be? And I don't think they officially really answered that, other than it's going to be like the other thing, but funny is kind of like, okay, I guess, So after all that, I'm kind of like, I'm fine with its existence, but I still kind of question it at the same time. Anyway, Thundercats Roar is currently on the Cartoon Network app. I don't think it's aired yet, to my understanding. All right, I did not talk about Infinity Train. I'm making a separate review of Infinity Train Book 2. In terms of the shorts, I will talk about them on there, but that's like a whole series. I like to do a full review of that, just for the record, everybody. All right, so I'm going to do 2 Patreon questions. If anyone has any questions in the chat, just put them after the Patreon thing and everything like that. All right, so the first one is, I don't know if Sinram's still here. Okay. I don't know if Sinram's still here, but this is his question from Patreon. Have you ever come to an end of a film and when the credits roll, a song begins to play? Your reaction is perfect. What a great song choice. I felt that way about American Beauty with the song Because, Unmasked, The Rise of Lisa Varon with Psycho Killer, Pulp Fiction with Surf Rider, and Killer Joe with Strokin. It's helpful if the viewer is prepped for this moment by playing the song earlier in the film, such as Back to the Future, Jackie Brown, or Clockwork Orange, but I'm more impressed if the song in question hasn't been heard earlier. I don't know if you have to watch the shorts before Niji Kichu, but Sinram is still here. Mine one would be, and one that literally made me start laughing, is, and this is very film nerdy, and it's actually not a movie, it's a show, but it involves a movie thing. In the movie, William Wellman's Public Enemy, which is one of my favorite films ever and definitely one of the best films of all time, in my opinion, in Public Enemy, they play this film, I'm Blowing Bubbles, in various different styles throughout the film. And it's kind of to show the passage of time, because songs right then would get played. Rum Tum Tugger is the best Thundercat. That's funny. Songs would get played in different versions. It was quite normal. Now it's like people get weird about it because people are precious about art, like Thundercats or whatever. But see, I tied it back in. But in Public Enemy, they do that basically. There's a Sopranos episode where Tony Soprano's mom died. It's like her funeral, and he's watching Public Enemy. And he keeps stopping it and rewatching it, and it's you're not sure if he's only watching like 20 minutes a night or something, or he just keeps rewatching it every night. But it's like sort of a part of that episode, which I saw was sort of interesting. And then you get to the end credits, and they play a version of Blowing Bubbles, and I was like, I remember literally going, that was perfect. So if you want to know what is going on, if you want to know what thing I did that with, it was that one, because I thought that was a fucking clever reference. And apparently I've talked to people who know The Sopranos, and they didn't even get that, because I'm a dork. Anyway, and that is a great Sopranos episode. All right, so Will, Jesus, Buster, do you want to come on the... No, don't do that. Buster, you want to come on the stream? Hold on. Look, it's Buster. Buster, do you want to answer Will's question with me? Are you showing up on the camera? Look, there he is. Okay. Look, you're on camera. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's see. We have a Patreon question from Will, and then we'll do the chat. I think I'm the only one who cares about underwater, but... Oh, Buster's done. That was it. Sorry, guys. Jesus, you have a lot of fur, Buster. He's a fluffy cat. Ugh. Not a cat. Why does someone keep saying J Street? Do you want me to... I didn't sing J Street. I don't understand what's going on there. It is a song that I helped write. That is true. Alright, anyway. Will, think I'm the only one who cares about underwater, but only because the production of it was so fascinating. Was aware of the project since 2018. It was originally supposed to come out that year, but didn't because of T.J. Miller's toxic reputation, as well as a myriad of other behind-the-scenes shenanigans. The movie was almost last minute going to be canned by the Fox merger, but didn't for reasons I can't find. Apparently the filming of Underwater was a nightmare. The cast and crew had a miserable experience for the fact that they had to film certain scenes quickly with physical sets and no green screen. The last bit with, oh, hold on, we have a super chat. What are your favorite things to get at the movies? Do you drink or just watch the movies? I usually get a soda. Chili Cap. Have I met you before? Or is that a different... Anyway, sorry, Will, that was rude of me. It's hard to, because the super chats are going to go away, so I'll get back to yours. I'm sorry, Will. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Chili Cap. It's very appreciated. Apologies, Will, that I stopped that. Back, I will read some more. They had to film certain sequences quickly with physical sets. The last bit was specifically pushed by the director William Umbanks and got him in hot water because of all the money he was costing Fox. Seriously, read about this movie. It's absolutely insane. It still got released the way it was. Underwater, regardless of its quality, definitive movie of art through adversity. What is your example of that? I mean, I would probably just go with Jaws because I'm basic. But there's actually a great series that Joe Blow does called What the Fuck Happened to This Movie? And that one... they did The Abyss, and that one's insane. Waterworld's insane. Most Stanley Kubrick movies. What happened on Apollo 13, where they can only shoot like a couple seconds of the plane when it did the zero gravity thing. That would be one. What happened with Toy Story 2, which is another. How the fuck did this movie get made, or what the... Anyway, check out Joe Blow has a lot of good ones on that. Just about crazy productions. Back to the Future would be one of them. I think that's all of them. I don't know. There's a lot of Days of Heaven where they can only shoot at magic hour. Days of Heaven's a beautiful movie. And it worked out, but it cost way too much. Things like that. Star Wars, the original Star Wars. Did I say The Abyss? I should have said The Abyss, and that's one you should check out. You should watch The Abyss anyway. Alright, now I'm going to answer questions. Sorry, Will, if that was rude of me. Alright, I like when people write question first. Question question, thoughts on Fear and Loathing, and is that the first one? Are we starting with William Ellman? I'll start with William Ellman. What is your favorite Herschel Gordon Lewis movie? What is your favorite Roberto Rossellini movie? I would personally say Gore Girls and Europa 51. Oh, man. I used to watch those so long ago, and I just remember the gore, and I don't remember the titles. Rossellini. God damn. You always ask me, like, the hard ones. Rossellini. I gotta look up that filmography. I know I've seen both. Rossellini, I probably have a good example, and I can't think of one. I might have to... How about this? I'll get through everybody, and I will Google Rossellini's filmography, because I feel like I'm not getting it right away. Question, Sophie likes Frozen, right? Yes? That's a... Okay, thank you, Nathaniel Fogel. Major Mekazawa, thoughts on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? It's one of my favorite movies ever. I saw it actually in the theater. I then read the book. I think the book's better, but I like it okay. I don't like it as much as when I was 14, pretending I was smoking a cigarette. I was just like, had like a pencil or something, and pretending I was Hunter S. Thompson on my way home. I was totally cool. Why is it called Thundercats? Should they use thunder? Mage Rabbit. It's called that because it was market tested. I don't know, man. Question from Niji Kichu. What is the earliest anime you have seen? Mine would be a 70s anime called Waltz 5 when it re-aired in 1999. I guess I've seen Hole's Prince of the Sun, Iso Takahata's first film, which no one talks about, which was kind of a cult film. I guess you could call that an anime. I've seen Gigantor, the 50s Gigantor. I've seen Astro Boy. I'd say Astro Boy. Maybe that's the earliest. But the first Takahata movie, definitely see it. It's not like the Takahata, like the, Grave of the Fireflies kind of realistic stuff. Buster's just laying on the floor looking at me. Realist drama things. It's different. So, Hunter S. Thompson cameo was a legendary moment in film history. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it was definitely surprising at the very least. Epic Buster cameo. Buster finds that musical racial discrimination. Right, it's funny today. Okay. Question: do you think postmodernism will still be a thing in movies, or will it change? From Jordan Calaflo. Oh, that's like a big question there. I would say yes. I don't think postmodernism is something that's leaving us. I wouldn't be surprised if people started to bring in more things, but postmodernism has been so married to film from the beginning of the medium. I would think it would take a long time to get out of it. Do I think it'll be stuck with it forever? No, but I don't think it's something that we haven't fully moved past, because postmodernism is such a part of cinema. It's such a part of how we understand Spielberg and Lucas and all the major directors and storytellers. Star Wars is very postmodern. So as soon as we start having other great masterpieces and storytellers that don't use postmodernism, then we'll leave that. But as for right now, I don't see it leaving anytime soon. That's a very good question, Jordan Solaflo, I think. I'm sorry, I can't say your name, but that was a great question. Ace the Wind Rider, my Flicks Friday guy. You should check out my Twitter on Friday. This guy asks me questions every Friday. It's always a lot of fun. So maybe I shouldn't answer his question here, but whatever. So anyway, sorry. No offense, Ace. What movie gives you a sense of pride after watching it and pretty much rewards you for watching? I would say Pink Flamingos. I would say the original Star Wars. Yeah, I feel like those do. Blockbusters in general usually do. Or like the Marvel movies, basically. Same Powers, thoughts on movies Christmas with the Cranks, Quest for Camelot, and The Cell. I haven't seen Quest for Camelot, and I know I need to review it. The Cell I saw in theaters, and then I actually watched on 9/11 with a friend after we laughed at Spaceballs. It was a weird day. There's sort of a lot going on. Don't judge me. Major Makasawa, do you know that Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were huge fans of Looney Tunes and frequently did impressions of Porky Pig to make each other laugh? I didn't know that, but I know they were great friends, and that sounds awesome. They sounded like awesome people from everything I've heard about them. From Major Makazawa. Cornbread question. I've been rewatching a lot of your... Oh, okay. Sorry. Question. I've been rewatching a lot of Red Letter Media recently, and I've heard about your thoughts about their recent videos, but I wanted to ask you, do you think that Mr. Plinkett aged well? I haven't watched The Phantom Menace review in a while. I've wondered that. Specifically, like, I think I would feel differently. This might be a lame answer. I might go on about this for a while. But joking about being disappointed in your kid is funnier when you don't have a kid Now he makes a lot of jokes about that, and I don't think I'd find that as funny now, because I don't think I would speak that way about my child. Frankly, I think that's like that's like a funny thing when you don't have kids. You know what I mean? I don't know how much of it would. I think sometimes they're cynical. I've said that stuff before, but I wonder how well those prequel reviews age. But they're so long. I think at the time they came out, I had that free time. I could have watched it, and now I don't. So I don't know when that would happen, but that would be an interesting rewatch, to be honest. That's a good question, Cornbread. Thank you. A lot of really good questions. Do you think this is from Zix the Pest. Do you think Squirrel Girl's original actress will be folded into the Ms. Marvel show? I don't know enough about the Ms. Marvel show, but I would possibly. I know they try to do those things keep those things because of fans, so it's a possible. I don't know if they're ever going to do that. Question from Ryan Walterson: have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? I've at least twice. No, I know. What kind of question is that, Michael Keaton? Anyway, I'm judging Michael Keaton, not Ryan. Anyway, not plausible. What will happen to the Juana Man guy when you actually do review that movie? Will he cease to exist? I know he's actually going away, and I want to try to do Juana Man soon. I wanted to do it before I moved as the final review in that apartment, and it's sort of I ran out of time. I need to do the Juana Man review. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it because it's Oscar time and it's a shortened Oscar season. I'm doing best ofs and things like that. I really want to do it this year. I don't want Juana Man guy to go away, actually. That's kind of one of my greatest fears. If I do it, it's because I actually like his weird poems in the comments. So it's something I actually have really thought about. And I need to do it. But I have asked him, what is your attachment to Juana Man? I'm very curious about that, to be honest. What he wants me to see in it or something. I've watched the trailer, but I've never seen the I need to do it. It's I have to do it. At this point, it's been so many years. I feel embarrassed I haven't done it. Everyone's like, why haven't you done it? I don't know at this point. There's just so little time to do everything, but I need to do it. That's something I need to do. Question from Austin. Did you know that Corey Coleman directed Space Jam and there's a 5-hour cut of the movie that is supposed to be epic? Really? A 5-hour? I don't think the animators... What was the deal with the Corey Coleman thing? I was very confused about that. If someone in the chat could explain that to me. A question, could you explain the New Mutants? I could explain them. They're kind of like a teenage X-mutant team that Chris Claremont kind of made as sort of a spin-off of the X-Men. But the arc I like specifically is when he had a lot of power because he was making X-Men. It was the #1 book, and Chris Claremont's the one who sort of made the X-Men super popular. Stan Lee created it, but Chris Claremont's the one who made it go from the number 20 book to #1 book from the beginning of the Phoenix Saga to the end, which really they should never make a movie of because there's a lot of comics of it. But New Mutants in that arc was sort of his weirder experimentation thing because they sort of weren't looking at him and they just wanted a spinoff. And so I would say that's sort of what I like about it. I'm a huge Chris Claremont fan. There's a lot to that question that I'm not going to go into right now. Are there any movies... Oh, fuck. I lost it. No. Oh, shit. Where? Okay. Are there any movies you personally find too long, literally time-wise, like Lord of the Rings or Infinity War, or just technically with uses of time with filler? I honestly would say The Irishman. I need to get a review of that. I didn't like that as much as most people. There's certain ones like The Godfather and even the extended Lord of the Rings, which I have no problem with. And Infinity War, I didn't feel was too long. But there's certain ones, I would say that one, I would say, there's usually some Oscar ones that are way too long. But if it feels long, if at the end I was what the fuck was that about? Marriage Story felt that way too. It felt a little too long. Just it didn't work in terms of the cutting and the flow of the film. So that's what I would say. Question, when people saying Disney royalizes from Zane Powers with their financial domination, do you think it'll be if the other studios were in one scenario, i.e. Warner, Viacom, Sony, and Universal, and I guess them the other? No, I think we're not going to see Disney have the crazy year they had this year that they had last year. This year was an extreme thing, and I sort of wish they had spaced things out a little, but they didn't. 2021 probably will be a little crazy because they have 4 Marvel movies. I sort of think in some years it will and some years it won't, but Disney clearly doesn't really fully know how to do certain things. Yet, and I think it's sort of going to be a mess, and Warner's and Universal and those guys might be able to come up with a way to kind of counter them before they can truly figure out what to do. If not, then I guess we're all doomed. Have you watched the animated Hot Wheels movie? No, I have not. I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. Is January... This is from Jordan Soloflo, I think. Is January really the month with the worst movies? Some people have actually said June and like some of the summer months. I think August is more of just a dead month, really. January is like fine because you get Oscar stuff, you get this. I don't find January as dead as everybody thinks it is. It's just like August when you're like, there's nothing out. What do I do? I've seen literally everything. I feel like January, there's at least stuff to talk about. Okay, Zane Powers, what do you predict will happen to cable this decade? I think it'll go away, but it'll just slowly peter out. I'd say. Question, thoughts on the Mad Max Fury Road Black and Chrome cut? I've never watched it and I really want to, but I need to watch it. I don't know why I haven't. It's making me feel bad, Cashews the Musical. I wish I had. Hello, Jonathan Curran. Hello. Bruce Parker, question, since I've seen 2 videos on this today, have you ever heard of SpongeBob in Tehran? Apparently some Iranian animation studio bootlegged a SpongeBob film. I don't know anything about that, but I'll look it up afterwards. What did you do to your angsty teenage phase? It went away, I guess. When's Juana Man? I don't know. It'll happen soon. I hope so. I'm sorry. It's taking so long. Niji Kishu, what do you think has been the biggest flaw in the MCU movies? I would say not. The cinematography all looks the same, and they really need to, because comic books don't look the same. They're not all drawn the same, so they should do different stuffs with it, and they fail to do that, and it's disappointing. I really wish they weren't shot the same way. I think that's a disappointing thing they do. Jesus B, question, have you ever read any other Hunter S. Thompson books? I really like Hell's Angels. I read the Campaign Trail one, but it was like the 90s, so I don't remember it very well. Zane Powers, do you think there was a more rational side of people who weren't into Thundercats Roar, as some felt it was like the Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Girls reboot, and felt it was trend following? I don't think it was trend following because those things aren't trendy, and Thundercats isn't trendy. I don't agree. I just think I don't agree with those things because those were, I'd say it's like Teen Titans Go, but I don't think it's like Powerpuff Girls because Powerpuff Girls was trying to modernize it. I don't think they were modernizing Thundercats. They just made this weird kind of loosely animated show. So I don't really agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I just noticed the negativity I saw was more of a gatekeeping thing to me. What movies did you watch during your teenage angst phase? Like Truffaut and stuff. I was not a cool teenage. I mean, the typical stuff like with Tarantino, Kevin Smith, stuff like that. Discount Viscount, do you think VR will ever affect cinema? I heard Alejandro Inarritu is making a VR short film. It could. I don't think anyone's done it well enough yet, so we'll see what's happening with that, but it could. I'm open to that. Tanner Lands, what is your favorite movie that was made by and or starring a band or a musician or band? Maybe A Hard Day's Night or Yellow Submarine. I know those are boring answers. What was Rock and Roll High School? I would put that up there too. Zane Powers, my comic group just released a new issue and it's really good. Would you be interested in checking it out? Send me a copy and I will check it out. Chili Cap, do you want Ip Man 4? I've not seen enough Ip Man stuff, unfortunately. Question, where'd you get the MST figures? I got them early sales because I'm on the Kickstarter things, and there's one toy I didn't get, and it's like a Crow Servo combo, and I wish I had gotten it. I felt proud after Brazil because I actually understood it. I was 16. Oh, that's a good choice, actually. Zane Powers, will you start one of these streams by saying, "What's up, gamers"? Remind me next time. Send me a DM before Monday or Friday. Thank you for taking the time to answer. I try to answer everybody. By the way, if you have a question that doesn't get answered, message me somehow and let me know. Do you think Nostalgia Critics Clipless? Did you watch? No, I didn't watch. I don't really watch Nostalgia Critic ever, unless people are like, did you see this ridiculous mess? Zane Powers, if you were given your own Quibi show, what would you make it about? I have no clue. It would make it out to be a total disaster, maybe? I don't know. Question, when going to see your co-host Puppet Jim? What? No, not doing that. Question, Did you rewatch Symbiotic Titans? It's on Netflix, and does Netflix own it now? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the deal is with that, Major Rabbit. I have not rewatched it, but I watched it when it was originally on and DVR'd it. So, not plausible. I remember you mentioned you had a public access show. What is it about? Is there anywhere else on the internet for people to say from not plausible? Yes. So there's two answers to that. I did have a public access show. Apparently it airs randomly sometimes, and I think it's just the Ryan Coogler episode that airs from my understanding. But I do not watch public access randomly to check it if it's on. That's what I've heard from people. Maybe it does. I don't know. Point is, all the episodes are available on my Patreon feed through a playlist and stuff. So if you donate to my Patreon, you can watch all the episodes of my public access show, Movie Stuff, when it was on there. It's basically just re-edited versions of my reviews with host segments and little clip things I made for it. It's fine. It's okay, but yeah, that's what happened to it. I need to make a video on why it ended and everything. I actually shot a video and I never edited it about that. But yes, I did have a public access show for a little bit. It just really wasn't doing anything for me, and you don't get paid for that. And it wasn't promoting the channel, which I thought it might. It was just sort of like I was making the show, and I eventually sort of stopped doing it because I realized it wasn't really helping me. But everyone who worked at the network who I did it, which was Brooklyn Free Speech, was very nice to me. I actually think it worked better. It got people who already watch my YouTube channel to watch it more, but I didn't get any new people, so it was kind of, it wasn't really, I don't know. If you're not getting paid and you're not helping your stuff out, it just didn't work. But that's basically the long answer. But if you want to watch them, they are on my Patreon feed. If you're a patron, go check them out. You can watch them right now, all of them, every single one. It's a pretty good show, I think. Do you have any more questions? Question: do you think that Netflix has been doubling down on providing quality animation content between originals like Klaus, I Lost My Body, as well as stuff like Symbiotic Titan and MFKZ? I noticed MFKZ's been on there. A lot of people would check out my review. Yeah, I've noticed they've been trying to take it seriously. I know I've read that they try to have their thoughts in a lot of pies, and that seems to be their thing. And I think they're trying to do that with animation, which I think has been working. Question: scamming artists aside, do you think a project like Butch Hartman's O-Axis could ever work if it were well managed or something? No, I don't think O-Axis will ever happen. All right, I think that is everything. I think we got everything, right? Did we? I don't know. Anyway, so, let me, that one's open. What's the one with the little bit? All right. Is it gross watching me? What's the deal with airline food? I don't know. I think I've answered everybody. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the stream. Here's what's going on with the YouTube videos. Or thank you, everyone, who came to the stream. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all the support and everything. You guys were great. I'm sorry this was shorter. I don't think it was a crazy movie news week. So what's going on with Movie Crap? Here's the deal. Tomorrow, there will be a new video. It's like kind of a test, like mic test thing. I shot a lot of footage of me doing mic tests. It's like a fun little video. Then there'll be Movie Crap on Monday in the afternoon, and then it'll go to everybody after that. Then it's basically me just reacting to the Oscars. There'll be no time code things like there are at the bottom of this. And then there'll be a Movie Crap on Friday, I believe, and another video that Saturday, which I think will come out at 10:30. So if you're around, you can watch that video. It'll be a cool one that we've been working on. As for what came out this week, there was the final Mandalorian review, which I shot with this camera right here. Hi, camera. So it looked like the other ones that were shot during the stream. It was not part of the stream, as well as ranking all the Infinity Train shorts video. There was the movie review vote. If you've not voted in the movie review vote, please do so. Make your voice heard. And then I did a review of Uncut Gems. Was that everything? I think so. And then this. And so you're up to date. So check all those out if you would like to. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for all the support and everything that you've been doing. Oh, thank you. Okay, Ryan explained this. Hold on. Ryan said the Space Jam thing. Corey was an animator on Space Jam, and everyone, including him, jokes that he made it. All he did was draw a shadow on Tweety in an iron lung. I remember that joke. Anyway, on that note, thank you all very much for coming out to the show. Thank you all for being cool and nice to me and supportive and all that. I hope the Oscars work out for some of us, and we get some of the movies that we really like getting semi-nominated or something. So anyway, you guys have a great Saturday night. Go watch a cool movie or something. And I will see you either Monday afternoon or Friday night at 10:30. All right, thank you I'll let you know about that. Anyway, thank you very much, and subscribe if you would like to.